By far, the Orville's been the most successful one of my videos of reviewing shows, so I'd like to talk to you guys about it, and see what you had to say too. And welcome back to the heart of the stories we tell. I'm Rob the host, and this is another look deep into what makes a story, a theory on storytelling by a storyteller who believes that every story has merit. And tonight's episode is the first of my talking backs of the Orville. Okay, so there's a lot to unpack here. The Orville in general is, in my opinion, as good as any Trek was, and is a new form of sci-fi comedy that I'm enjoying a lot. It brings the action, the drama, and at the same time gives you some laughs. In general, I've been saying for a while now that I want to start a community, and this video is really the first next step in that. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. But here's what we're doing. My last video on the Orville, we talked about a bunch of things, and some people left some comments, so I'd like to address them directly and see if we can't get a give and take going on in the comment section. In general, that episode entitled The Krill was pretty gutsy of a move on McFarlane's part, and pretty crazy of an episode. Before we get into the direct comments, I do want to just say that I was worried the Krill wouldn't be fleshed out enough, because they just didn't have the time. I mean, we've had years to learn about, like, the Klingons on Star Trek. But they managed in one episode to introduce the idea of what they mean and what they stand for. In several ways, it's like the way they introduce the crew, one at a time and just carefully, and it is amazing. But let's talk about individual comments. For those of you that don't know already, here's my spoiler warning. Up to episode 6. So once again, it's stop. Spoiler time. And I do want to just once again say thank you, because when I said that this was the most viewed, I mean by a shit ton. 2 of the top 5 of views and 3 of the top 15 for thumbs up all came from you guys watching the Orville with me. So I hope you're all ready to see what you had to say, and we'll start with the funny one. Do you like scary movies? Toby has a point about my sound quality, and let's be honest, I'm doing this for free. I haven't gotten paid for one video in 2 years, so I don't have a lot of money to throw into this, so the sound can only get so much better before I start having to invest money. Second of all, I was tired, it was a long day, and I was pretty shocked by the ending. All of that's not an excuse, mind you. I understand that, this is one of those things I'm going to have to improve on. I'm going to need to sound a little more upbeat, a little more of myself. And remember, I'm talking to you, not a blank computer screen. I hope you all understand as we go through some growing pains that I am going to try to get better as these episodes go on. I have a new mic coming in from Amazon shortly. Now, this is in response to me saying that violence only begets violence. Old Master says, violence only begets violence if you don't use enough of it. And to a certain extent, he's right. If they had wiped out those children, that would have been less enemy combatants on the field. The question as to whether or not it's right to do the safe thing when it's obviously the wrong thing, notwithstanding. Okay, up next we have 2 different posters who just wanted to remind us how awesome the Orville is, and let's be honest, it really is. So, hey, 2 thumbs up to you guys for reminding everyone why it is we're all here. Then we go to a pretty good comparison to 2 different movies. First, The Kingdom, which very much so is the exact same story as this, just without the laughs. And the other is War Games. And absolutely, I feel that both of those war movies are stories about anti-war. And I completely agree with the message. Like checkers or like tic-tac-toe, the only winning move is not to play. But speaking of comparing it to other stories, someone said it's the best sci-fi space story since Lex. Now, those of you that don't know, Lex was a very adult series that I think might have been on one of the pay stations, but I remember it rerunning on Sci-Fi. Maybe it was a Sci-Fi original, I'm not sure. It was a series of movies that then became a TV show. It dealt with some rather mature content, mostly sexual humor, and if I had been doing a YouTube channel back then, I probably would have been reviewing it too, because I totally liked it. But okay, then we have yet another comparison. First of all, I would like to say that the Krill are not vampires. Yes, I kind of get where they were going with that, but they're not vampires. Thematically, they're only vampires in a joke. Now, as far as the Avis Hertz thing, that joke actually served a meta purpose within the storytelling. See, when you're introduced to alien-sounding names, even realistic alien-sounding names, you have this problem retaining them, because they're just not John or Joe or normal names. But by making that joke, they made it stick, and you're always going to remember the car companies that you already know. And then this comment goes into the whole theme of the episode. The fact that no good deed goes unpunished, the fact that war is begetting war, and that peace comes from understanding and common ground. But you can't have common ground with some enemies. Some enemies are so alien that you just can't. And I think it's important to understand that just because something is alien and has a different outlook doesn't mean you can't have peace. But if that creature, if that person, if that other is so different that you have nothing, how do you make peace when you've already started off on war footing? This show is pretty amazing, and it's done a pretty good job of illustrating that. One of the ways they do it is by introducing normal-looking things. Hey, can I have a drink on the bridge? Hey, my boss called everyone in order to introduce us to the new supervisor. Hey, I'm at work and I'm being sexually harassed by a weird amorphous creature? Okay, maybe that one's not as relatable. I don't know, maybe to some of the women here. After all, that Me Too campaign is pretty hard growing. So, in general, this little name, or this little tagline here, 400 years in the future, technology has changed, relationships not so much. He's grounding everything in something that you can relate to today. Even if you personally can't relate to everything, someone can. And in this particular case, like I said in my War Stories videos, they really are touching on the fact that there is no good war, and you can't deal with an enemy that already has created an other in their mind. It's really heavy topics, and I wonder where they're going with the Krill. Will we be back to that ship? Will we be back to their religion? Or will we have to wait for a season 2 that Seth MacFarlane said is totally very probable? Shows like this serve a good purpose. The why here is easy, because we need to talk about these things, especially in this day and age. So once again, I'd like to give a big thank you to all of you that have made this the most watched video of my channel, and hopefully you stick around for some of my other crazy thoughts. But right now I'd love to hear your return comments. I'd like to really get the discussion going, because this is a great start. And if you do, then next week after the episode, maybe I'll screenshot some of the comments on this video and address them then. For now, if you liked this video, let's see if we can beat that 30-something thumbs up. And of course, share this video if you enjoy it. And if you haven't yet, since, about a tenth of you have, hit that subscribe button. Let's make this community one that we can truly believe in. Now, Star Trek has Trekkers, Trekkies. Maybe we need a name for Orville fans. For now, I hope that you have a good night, and I hope that you join me back here next week when the Orville comes back to walk through the heart of the stories we tell. Have a good night.